welcome back. This is Catherine Adewale discussion several times with other family women just like myself. Okay, if you want to know who a family woman is, you don't have to be married to be a family woman. Oh, she has to be married to be a family woman. A family woman is a lady, a young girl, an older woman, and a grandma, any female who has a family, whether it's your spouse, your children, you have a mother, you have a brother, you have a husband, you have a cousin, you have some friend that are actually like your immediate brother and sister, then you are in a family setting. And so you are the one I'm talking about. We are all family women. We care about each other and we look at each other when there is love as my sister, my brother, and a family woman. And so I'm a family woman and I know you are. Today I want to talk about treating your marriage. If you're married, this is for you. Treating your marriage, and if you're in a relationship, this is for you. Okay, treating your marriage or your relationship as a business. Okay, I know firsthand people have asked me several times, why do you say treat your marriage as a relationship? Why do we have to treat our marriage as a relationship? As a business? You want to be able to treat your marriage as a business because, or rather your relationship as a business, because of one single fact: the long run. The long run. We're all in a race to get to the end. Okay? That's the truth. Whatever thing we do in life, we want it for the longest time, especially when we love what we're doing. Let's take, for example, when you start a relationship, it is a beautiful thing. You want to have this butterfly in your stomach. You want to be happy with this person. You saw him, he's so handsome. You saw her, she's so pretty. You want to have her, she wants to have you. Everybody wants to be together for the long run. Don't get me wrong, there are some people who just want to be with you for the short run, but I'm talking about people who want to be with you for the long run, right? There is something at the back of your mind that you're thinking about. I want to be with this person. I want to spend the rest of my life with this person. I feel so happy, I feel so safe, I feel so secured when I'm with this person, and I want us to have this relationship for the longest time. Now, when you start having children, it's the same thing. You want to keep that child or your children for the longest time, right? Now, things happen. There's always a detour. When those kids grow up, they want to go to school, they want to go to high school, they want to go to the university. You can't go with them. They can't be with you for the long run. They can't be with you forever. But at least you can work towards keeping them for a long time, which building is a very good, healthy relationship. Which is why we're talking about treating your marriage, your relationship with anybody, whether it's your spouse or your friends or your boyfriend, if you're ready, or your fiance, with respect, with communication, with the things that I have listed out, with boundaries, with trust, and also support. Now I'm going to go over them one after the other, right? Why do relationships break? Why do marriages go down the drain? Why do we walk after saying I do? Or why do we walk away when we have started a relationship, that we think will last for a very long time? It's because we have failed to look at it from the angle of running it as a business. Yes, running it as a business. Now, even if you're starting a new business, how do you feel? You have something you have thought in your mind and you have said to yourself, I want to run this thing. I want to be able to start this business. I don't care what it takes me. I see this business growing. And sometimes we go into that business and we notice that instead of getting something from the business, it's getting something from us. It's taking our time and it's not productive. It's not working, maybe because we've not put in enough time. And if you have put in enough time and it's still not working, then there is a problem. If you have tried everything to make that business grow and succeed and it's not, then you have tried your best, right? You have asked questions, you have done what you have to do, you have put in money, you have put in expertise, you have put in everything that you have, and now this business is not growing the way it's supposed to. What do? You abandon the business and get a productive business, right? Same thing in a marriage. If you're in a marriage or you're in a relationship, let me start with the word relationship, and it's toxic, then you have no business staying in that relationship. But before you get to that point, why don't you treat it as a business? Why don't you give it your all? Why don't you think about the things that are making it difficult for you to move to the next round? What is happening? You know, I talk to so many women, and I have noticed that sometimes the first problem is usually communication. And they tell you, Catherine, I've been communicating. How do you then communicate? Because communication is not complete until the other person that you're trying to communicate understand exactly what you're saying. Because things happen, and sometimes you're not able to communicate it to the next person the way you want it. And in your brain, you think you're communicating effectively. And effective communication is not effective until the other person you're trying to communicate to understand exactly what you're saying. Then it becomes effective. Have you ever gone through something and somebody's trying to explain to you and you're thinking in your head, what is she saying? No. And that person is like, I'm explaining this. It's A and B. It's A and B. And you still did not get it until after a while it clicks. And you're like, oh, yeah. Oh, now I understand. Oh, I thought, you were thinking something else. But what was being communicated is different. And how we communicate matters a lot. Yes, you can have a way to talk to your spouse or talk to your friend or whoever you are in a relationship with. But how you communicate that is very important. Because are you screaming? Are you calm? Are you on the edge? Or you're just a person that is non-verbal? Because that's a communication as well. Some people are very quiet. They don't say anything. You're hurting them and they have a lot to tell you, but they're not saying anything because they believe that you already understand from the way their countenance is. Nobody can read your mind. You have to be able to bring the words out, and you should be able to communicate the words that you're trying to communicate to this person in a nice way, not by being verbally abusive, not by using words that you're not supposed to, that eventually you regret saying. Things happen. And sometimes I hear women say, oh, I was talking to him, he wasn't listening, and that was why I was just like talking to him and I was screaming. At the end of the day, who would listen to you if you're screaming? At the end of the day, if you're screaming, the man on the other side will start to scream. And if they're not the type of person that would scream, what do you think will happen? They walk away. They shut down like the computer. And so communication becomes very difficult. I think we should find a way to find how to communicate as opposed to I'm communicating. Yes, how do you communicate? Are you calm? Do you wait for the right moment? Because there's always a moment where you can communicate. Don't get it twisted. There's so many times you come on this show and you see how we communicate, because we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff on this show. It's all about helping us and helping our relationship. Too many times, most recently, there's a lot of divorce going on. There's a lot of friendship that has been hurt. There is a lot of people who are hurt as a result of the way others treat them. How do we treat our friends? How do we treat our spouse? How do we respect the people who actually respect us in a relationship? I just talked about communication. The next one is respect. Do we have respect for each other? In a business, you have to respect your partner. You have to respect your business partner, even your staff members. You need to know what they're going through. You need to know that for you to have an effective staff member, that person doesn't have a problem. You need to hold periodic meetings. Just the same thing in your home. You need to find time to sit down with your wife, sit down with your husband, even your children if you do have children at this point, and talk about the way forward. Do we talk about our finances? How much am I bringing to the table? How much are you bringing to the table? And how do we split this? How do we go about using our finances effectively so that we don't run into bankruptcy? What do we do? And how do we get more? How do we better our relationship? Do we talk about love? How do we grow our love? What's happening? Are we taking each other for granted now? Have we stopped going to that coffee shop or to that shopping or something, those things that you used to do before that you stopped doing now because things have started changing. You've had children, or you are still looking for a job, or you just got a job. You're now very busy. You don't have the time. There's a lot of stuff that could go on. I can go on and on. But how do you sit down and say, hey, baby, I love you. I know you're doing your best and I'm doing my best. But hey, this is where it is. I can't make more than this. How do we manage our finances? And how do we get to the point where we have to make more? What do we do? And sit down and talk about it. How do we raise these children together? How do we come together and make our family a place of heaven? Let me put it that way. How do we make our home a beautiful home, a place where we want to come back to after work? How do we make it beautiful? What is it that I'm doing that you don't like? Am I not cooking enough? Am I not dressing nicely? Am I not paying attention to you? Both ways, you have to talk about these things. Make it a conscious decision. Make it something that you really, really want to do. Sit down and talk to your spouse. Sit down and talk to your friend. Sit down and talk to your significant other or half. You want to be able to make sure you understand where they're coming from and where you are coming from, so that it's captured on time, and so you don't have that problem. Respect the person that you're with. Respect is very important. Sometimes when we get married and we're now together, or we have a relationship, or we're just, boyfriend, girlfriend, hoping to become fiancé and fiancé and hoping to build a future together, we tend to forget why we came together in the first place. We're tired of each other so quickly because we have not been reminding each other how useful we are to each other. And that's how it is in a business. You have to call your partner and say, you're trying your best. I think this is where I'm putting my own effort as well. I think I'm trying and you're trying. And wherever we have problems, let's solve it immediately. It's the same in the house. When you have a problem with your boyfriend or with your spouse or with your wife, or, you have to be able to sort things out immediately. You don't let it escalate. In any relationship at all, you do not allow it escalate. You have to be able to resolve it. Unless it is toxic, unless it is something that is causing you harm, unless it is something that is causing you sleepless nights. Even as a dad, you have to sit down, personally, think about it, ponder upon it, and weigh the option. If you have done that, then you can now say, I want to put this on the table with my significant other, and let's talk about it and see how we can move forward, how we can move on, and just let this elephant in the room die. Okay? You have to respect people. We have to respect each other, regardless. Whether you're a man or a woman, as long as you have a relationship with that person, you have to come up with ways to respect each other. Respect each other's feelings. Respect what the other person respects. Respect is reciprocal. You have to be able to feel it enough to give it. Respect yourself too. If you have respect for yourself, you'll be able to respect somebody else. You will feel the fear inside to hurt the other person, right? Right? Of course. And you have to talk about the third one, which is boundaries. We need to be able to set boundaries. Some of us don't know how to set boundaries. We think because we are in a relationship or, in a marriage, for the long run, there's no boundaries. We have to. Oh, no boundaries. I can tell him anything I want to say. I can say, no, you have to package what you have to say. You don't just go about telling your spouse certain things just because you think it's coming raw. He has to understand. No, you need to know how to set those boundaries. You have to package it in such a way that, it's not going to be harmful to your relationship. Okay? You need to know when to set boundaries. If you have to be home 8 p.m., you have to be home 8 p.m. If he likes you not going out, then you have to talk about that. And that brought me back to communicating and having periodic meetings even in the home, where you sit down and talk about things. It makes it easy. Remember, we're from various backgrounds and we have our lives to live. Have you ever thought about people who go into divorce and they become divorced? Now they are living individually. Have you ever thought about it? They had their lives. We're just trying to come together to build our friendship on trust, love, respect, boundaries, communication, which is bringing me to the fourth one, trust. We have to trust each other. We have to build self-esteem enough to trust the other person. I've heard people say to me, Catherine, I don't trust this guy. I don't believe that he's where he is. Girl, you need to believe where he is. Until you catch him red-handed, always believe. Always have that trust. And talk about it. Remember the meetings? You need to hold periodic meetings in your home where you talk about things that you don't feel comfortable about. Okay, you can talk to your man about it. Tell the other person, your woman about it, and tell her, I don't think I feel comfortable with you hanging out with this person, or she'll tell you, I don't think I feel, and then comfortable with you hanging out with this person, and why do you think this would affect us? You ask those questions, and that's where communication comes in. You ask her, why do you think this will be affecting us? Okay, because your friend is the type of person that does not have respect for women. Or he's this kind of person, that thinks life is just the way it is. He probably does not have a relationship, and so he's not able to really understand what you and I have. The list can go on and on. But if you don't talk about it, the other person does not understand. And I know you're going to be telling me right now, I have tried, and he's not listening, and he's still doing the same thing. Well, guess what? That's what business is all about. You talk to your staff members or you talk to your business partner, and sometimes they don't listen. But you know what? When it bites you in the butt, they listen. When things happen, they listen. We're all vested in this. We have our investment. It's our investment. Let him know. This is our business. Our relationship is a business. And we have the right to talk to each other when it comes to things that are not productive in our relationship. And one of it is your friend. One of it is the character that this person has. One of it is coming home late. One of it is not being able to spend our money wisely. One of it is this. One of it is that. And then you have to compromise. You have to come to a compromise. Remember, not everybody can be like you. But when you keep hitting it and you keep talking about it and you talk about how you want to be treated and how you want the other person to be treated and how you can merge the two together, then your marriage will grow, or your relationship, whatever you have with the other person, will grow. Not talking about it is like hiding, like I don't want him to feel bad, or I don't want her to feel bad. I can't tell her I don't like this because I don't want her to feel bad. That's where effective communication comes in. Write it down. If you don't want to talk about it, why don't you write it down, slip it in? Yeah, let her come back. Remember, what we're trying to build is both ways, right? Don't be afraid to tell the other person, I don't want you screaming or getting angry. I want you to understand this is how I feel about this. Can you just read it, please? Oh, can we talk about it? Yes, our next meeting in the house, probably next week, Saturday. It could be just one time in a month where you meet and talk about things and laugh about it and move on, and know the reason why you're doing it is because you respect each other, you love what you have, you love what you're building, and you don't want it to fail. That's how a business is. You respect your business, you love your business, you don't want it to fail. And so you will look for ways to make sure your business grows. That's the same way your friendship is. Whatever you have, your relationship, whatever you have with somebody else, that's how you should look at it. Respect it. Let it grow. Water it with love. Nurture it with communication. Effective communication. Set boundaries and trust each other. And that brings me to the last one, support. Learn to support each other. Learn to understand what the other person is going through and support them. How do you do that? By listening to them. If you're not the type that knows how to talk and you're going through stuff, if you're listening to me right now, you're watching this video and you have somebody that is so quiet and doesn't know how to express themselves, or they do know how to express themselves, but they're just the type of person that will suck it in and not tell people about it, please walk up to that person. If that person is your husband or your wife or your someone that you are having a relationship with, a strong and meaningful relationship with, go to that person and say to that person, it's like there's something eating you up and I want you to be able to talk about it. I've got a shoulder for you to cry on and I have a big heart to absorb. Can you come? Let's talk about it. Can you sit down? Let's talk about it. Have that listening ears, because most often than not, most people don't listen. They get to the point where, they feel, oh, you can handle it. She can handle it. She's the macho king or a macho queen. She can handle it. Oh, she's got it covered. She may not have it covered. She may not be able to sort her problems herself. All she's needing or what she wants from you is just for you to just listen to her. But she's not verbal and you want to suck that out. What do? Take a leap of faith. Be the strong person here. Try as much as possible to help the other person voice out what they're feeling inside. Don't just feel, okay, I've asked you 3 times and you're not saying anything, and okay, well, tell me whenever you're ready. Just tell me whenever you're ready. We will talk about it. Right now, I don't think it's the right time. I think you're not talking about it because this is not the right time. Why are you making that conclusion? Let them voice it out. Be calm enough to listen to the next person. Sweetheart, I know you have something eating you up. No, I don't. You do. And let's have 10 minutes of that time. Let's sit down here. I'm going to keep quiet and hear you talk. What is it? And you'll be amazed how that person will say one thing and that will lead to the next one, the third thing, and the fourth. And then you begin to write it down without blaming each other. Trusting, loving, respecting, setting boundaries, and effective communication. All of these things can help you. I cannot overemphasize it. Relationship is the greatest thing that mankind has. It is what brings about peace in your immediate family, peace in your country, peace in the world, effective communication, respect, setting boundaries, trust, and support. We'll have to learn to support each other. Support regardless. Support the next person. If you know their weaknesses, help them. If you know their strength, strengthen them. And if they know your weaknesses, I expect them to help me. And if they know my strength, strengthen me. Let's talk about it so that we can have a healthy relationship and continue to build it as a business. Well, if you have had anything happening or has happened in your relationship and you have sorted it out one way or the other, you can leave it in the comment below. And do not forget to use this opportunity to like, to share, to subscribe, and keep staying blessed and always tune in, because there's always one thing that we have to share on this channel. Until next time, keep viewing it real.